And I give the floor to the representative of Russian Federation.
Господин председатель.
Mr. President, we'd like to thank the Undersecretary General Jean-Pierre Lacroix, and we also thank the Special Envoy, Ambassador Onaganyang, and we thank them for their detailed briefings. We were concerned by the assessments shared by the Secretary General in his most recent report, where he describes the security situation in Abyei as tense and unpredictable. The continued intercommunal tensions, the presence of various armed groups, the high crime level, the incidents at the Amiet Common Market and along the so-called main supply route. All of this tells us that the presence of the blue helmets there is needed. So as to move forward successfully down the road of inter-Sudanese settlement, an outcome of which would be a decision on the final status of Abyei. In order to do this, joint efforts by the parties are needed. And in this regard, we are pleased to see the continued improvement in bilateral relations between Khartoum and Juba. The South Sudanese mediation in the Juba agreements of 3rd October 2020 between the government of Sudan and opposition groups shows us that the African solutions to African problems formula is working. We do hope that the parties will be guided by this principle when they discuss the Abyei problem as well. And the preconditions for a happy outcome here exist as well. We call upon Khartoum and Juba to take advantage of the current positive situation so as to achieve progress in this area. We also expect that work conducted by the African Union High-Level Implementation Panel will continue with the continue working with the Sudanese parties. Mr. President, we attach a great deal of importance to the work done by the Interim Security Force for Abyei, the work they do in creating constructive relationships between communities on the ground and moving national reconciliation forward. UNISFA actively supported in December 2020 a third meeting of traditional leaders. There was also support extended to the peaceful conference in South Sudanese Abyei in 2021, and the representatives on Ngok, Dinka, and Miseria communities participate in this, and this gives us certain optimism. Confidence-building measures need to continue to be continued, including within the context of such issues as seasonal cattle movements. We think that the joint border verification and monitoring mechanism is an integral element for prevention of incidents, and its support by UNISFA plays a key role in the general architecture of security. We did take into account what the Secretary General says in his recent report about the relatively modest results in attaining the benchmarks. And this has to do, inter alia, with the COVID restrictions. Nonetheless, there is still progress, some progress. Khartoum and Juba, the interpreter apologizes, there's a great deal of sound interference. The work to implement the benchmarks is something that needs to continue.
Генсекретарю за проведение консультаций с заинтересованными сторонами, о результатах которых он сообщил Совету Безопасности в своем письме от 1 апреля.
We do understand the fact that working out at this stage the frameworks for the missions drawdown is something that is not possible at this stage. At the same time, we note that Sudan, South Sudan, and Ethiopia in general speak in support of keeping the blue helmets in Abyei. In this regard, we think the only logical step would be to extend the mandate of UNISFA, including the support to the Joint Border Verification and Monitoring Mechanism. This said, we believe that Secretariat's proposals on the civilian component of the mission should be considered with due account to the opinions of Khartoum and Juba, as is required by the basic principles of peacekeeping. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Russian Federation for her statement.